to Bad Larry.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the new 2025 The Amazing Spider-Man series. I'm your host, Bad Larry, and this series is brought to you by Kelly and Pepe Larraz. I have a lot of high expectations for this series. This is the flagship book for Marvel, really for the world. Without Spider-Man, there would be no Marvel, and specifically the Amazing Spider-Man. He he has big shoulders that holds up basically the entire comic book industry. It's a big deal, so we have to check it out. And we're doing a double issue today, number 1 and number 2. So let's see if my expectations are met. Some may say these are maybe boring panels, but for me, Peter Parker is as much of a character as Spider Man is. So, him getting as equal screen time, it is different than Bruce Banner and the Hulk. Peter Parker is as important as Spider Man. So, here he's having a real hard time getting a job, which is typical for Peter Parker. The Amazing Spider Man has to fall right in that middle line between not too serious, Punisher, Daredevil, these are serious comics, and then not too goofball like Deadpool. He has to fall right in that middle ground. And I think so far it's doing a good job. The advancements in technology is really shining here. The purple coloring showing the bruising on Peter Parker's face couldn't be done way back then. It's really showing how he's trying to get a job. The side effects of being Spider Man are hindering Peter Parker's life. It's right on point. And you can't have Peter Parker without Aunt May. And I really enjoy this rendition of Aunt May. She's looks like a great aunt, Peter Parker's grandmother. Not too frumpy, but not too cool, not too young. Perfect rendition for me for Peter Parker. It's interesting. He's unemployed. He's tanked 15 interviews in 9 days. This is standard Peter Parker, Spider Man. I love it. And like they say, every blind squirrel finds a nut sometime. Someone gave Peter Parker a good recommendation, and it looks like he's getting a job at Rand Enterprises, which is obviously Danny Rand, Iron Fist. This guy, Brian Nearing, is an old middle school chum of Peter Parker. He's the one who got Peter Parker the job at Rand Enterprises. Together, they pulled some serious chemical shenanigans at school back in the day. Brian is about to introduce Peter Parker to his boss when Peter Parker hears the booming sound. He looks out the window. It's Spider-Man time again. I absolutely love it. A splash page is my favorite. This art is beautiful. Spider-Man swinging in action. Rhino being the Amazing Spider-Man's first villain that he's fighting, technically, in this new series. And he had to leave his first day on the job to go do it. So it's all coming together perfectly. Spider-Man is in his bag right now, kicking Rhino's ass. One to the face, launches him into a truck, and is about to take the truck and play whack-a-mole Rhino style with it. Spider-Man actually pulls his shoulder out a bit, slamming this truck into the Rhino, and then is like, "You ready to talk now, big boy?" Well, Rhino ain't interested in talking. He's interested in fighting. Well, Peter Parker likes to talk trash, and he's cracking jokes when all of a sudden, Rhino looks like he's having a freaking heart attack. And this is the golden rule: love your enemies, right? So he could just let Rhino die, walk off, not have to deal with him anymore, but no, he does the right thing. He starts doing CPR, but Rhino's big ass is too big for normal chest compression, so Spider-Man has to use all his strength to start slamming on his heart. Can he bring Rhino back? The answer is yes. Spider-Man saved the Rhino, but apparently he was on some drugs. Drugs that have been supplied by this guy, Mr. Kingsley. And he's afraid that whoever's doing Rhino's blood work will put two and two together and maybe link Mr. Kingsley to the drugs. But Mr. Kingsley's assistant here, Simon, thinks it's unlikely. I like this aspect of the issue as well. New York City is a big poppin' city. The nightlife is unlike any other place. So showing Peter Parker out with some friends, having a drink, even though he's unemployed, he ain't got no money. Who's paying for all of this, Peter? Anyway, uh, his buddy from school who got him the job, Brian, he actually covered for him for skipping out with his boss. So uh, Brian told his boss he had that diarrhea. So he's in the clear. He'll try again tomorrow. Let's hope he doesn't mess this job up. Randy, the black guy in glasses, is a social worker, and he's giving us some clues here. He's telling Peter Parker that people in East Harlem, people that he's known very well, they're acting real funky lately. Could it be related to the drug that the Rhino was taking? You know, the Rhino is a huge ass dude. So if a regular person is taking the same drug the Rhino's taking, what kind of effect would it have on a regular sized person? And we're not starting Peter Parker's relationship off with Mary Jane Watson. No, we're starting it off with this dark haired girl named Shay. And this is where technology is really trouncing the old comics. Look at the lighting. Spider Man is crawling in Rhino's apartment. He's looking for clues, and you can see that he's using his spider light. It's just fantastic immersion. Something is just fishy. His spider senses are going nuts. All of a sudden, Spider-Man not feeling too good. His head a little woozy. It must be some sort of hypnotic drug. He's seeing all of his enemies attack him at once. Oh my goodness. And art-wise, just immaculate, beautiful. You can't say otherwise. This should be a poster. We get a little bonus pages with this first Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man issue, and drawn by the unique art of John Romita Jr. And what I feel here is they're making out Norman Osborn to be a little like Trump here. Osborn is given some sort of shareholder meeting. Things aren't going so great. Someone stands up. They're clearly upset. Some radicalized guy with some tech embedded into his body starts shooting at Norman Osborn. Who do we know who was recently shot at a press conference? And they're saying you're a monster because you live above the law because you're wealthy. Who else has felt like that? And just like Trump, when he was shot, he said, fight, fight, fight. And Norman is literally fight, fight, fighting back. Don't come to my press conference and try to shoot me. I'll throw a darn podium at your face, boy. And then I'm going to forget my security, tackle you myself, rip off your crazy robot arm, and beat the hell out of you with it. How you like them apples? In this timeline, it looks like everybody knows that Norman Osborn was the Green Goblin. He outed himself, even Spider-Man knows. And I guess Norman Osborn is trying to make amends. This conversation looks like it appears to happen sometime in the past before Spider-Man was just attacked by some of this gas that made him see all his villains. And as Norman Osborn is walking away, the press is like, what was the point of this conference? What were you going to do? And Norman Osborn says, well, I was going to resign, but a friend reminded me, Spider-Man, you got responsibility. So he's got this great wealth and ability, so he's going to try to make amends. So I guess Norman Osborn is trying to be a good guy now. And still with the John Romita Jr. art, them big old square faces, we go somewhere in Arizona. Some scientist digger people are looking at a big mountain and think there's something special about it. The chubby guy says, well, the mountain's really not a mountain, but these giant tree trunks, and they're emitting cosmic radiation. What is that, kablooey? The tree trunk actually opens, and out pops a giant monster knight from hell. It's a hell gate. For issue number one, relaunching the Amazing Spider Man series, I was impressed. I'm intrigued. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm going to keep reading. Let's go on to issue number two. Another absolutely beautiful, stunning cover by Pepe Larraz and Marte Garcia. The only thing is, it looks very similar to the movement he's doing in issue number one. So a little bit repetitive, but still quite beautiful. It's the art for me, all the details, the lighting. Man, technology has really made comic books amazing so far. So Spider Man is jumping through the wall. He has to get away from these enemies. Something's not right here. And I like how these panels are fragmented, they're kind of shards. It's to represent, I think, that this isn't really reality. This is just shimmers of his mind going nuts. And he's fighting all of his enemies. He's winning, but he's still fighting. He's unclear of what's real and what's not real. This is fun, even though it's a bit pointless and kind of confusing. Spider Man fighting all of his enemies. The art's absolutely beautiful. These enemies clearly aren't real, they're just in his head, but he's also having flashbacks of him reading some kind of comic book or magazine with his old friend Brian. Brian likes to curse. You can see Brian got that little devious, beady eyes and that crooked, devious smile. So something is off here with his friend Brian, who helped him get a job at Rand Enterprises. But we're seeing this flashback that their friendship, obviously, Peter Parker was much more pure, good kid, and his friend Brian was a little son of a bitch. You can tell that the editing focus was that they have to make this series visually perfect. You know, the fans have to open each page and say, wow, wow, this is beautiful. Wow, this is a great page. Because it's the Amazing Spider-Man. It's the Maybach of comic books. It's the Bentley of comic books. It has to be the best, and it is delivering on the art. And we see Spider-Man is literally out of his mind. He's fighting enemies, uh, but in real life, he's creating a whole entire disaster. The cops are there. They got their guns on him. He's throwing cars willy nilly, the whole place. He's causing mass destruction. It kind of reminds me of what the Rhino was doing in issue number one. He was just tearing stuff up. He was inconsolable. You couldn't reach him. And this looks like is what's happening to Spider Man. Hopefully, he doesn't have a heart attack. Uh-oh, things are super weird, but that's pretty normal for the Amazing Spider-Man and Peter Parker. He wakes up uh, in mid-conversation with his new boss and friend, Brian, at Enterprises. He's shocked. How did he get here? Brian here is growing lots and lots of mushrooms, all kinds of crazy mushrooms. You know what mushrooms do? They're hallucinogenic, and Peter is freaking out. He's kind of, out of his gourd. And his buddy Brian here, he's like, oh, I owe you, but there's something super fishy about this guy. My spider senses are going off. Peter Parker has another flashback of him doing some minor larceny, some minor theft, running from the cops. Closes his eyes, and next thing you know, he's on the edge of the building. What's going on with Peter Parker? He's in and out of reality. And of course, it's the Green Goblin attacking Peter Parker. He says it's always him. It's probably, other than Doc Ock, Green Goblin vies for, in my opinion, the Amazing Spider-Man's number one enemy. But y'all let me know down in the comments, who is really Spider-Man's number one enemy? Maybe himself, Peter Parker. Well, Norman is there to catch Spider-Man's punch and save him from falling off the building. But where's his curly hair? This artist didn't give him the waves. So this is interesting. We're seeing the feet of what looks like the Hobgoblin having a conversation with his normal self, and they're clearly setting Peter Parker and Spider-Man up. Um, they poisoned him, but just not enough. So this is a very interesting storyline. It really has to be the Hobgoblin. I know them boots, but I don't know the character that's walking behind him. Does anybody know? I think we might find out at the end. And as they're the main point is that the Hobgoblin wants to kill Spider-Man Peter Parker, but he needs him to know that it was him who killed him. Hobgoblin is a supervillain, not an assassin, so when he kills somebody, he needs them to know that it was him who killed him. That's part of his personal joy of doing crime, supervillainy. And just like in the original The Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man is susceptible to viruses and poisons and things, but he gets over it pretty quickly. And Norman Osborn here says that due to Spider Man's unique physiology, he was able to come back quicker than normal, which is obvious because he's Spider Man. But Peter Parker gets to see the mass destruction that he caused. Oopsie! There's a couple revelations here. Norman Osborn and Peter Parker, the couple big brains, put it together that it was a trap for Spider-Man to go and investigate the Rhino's apartment. Whoever gassed Peter Parker knew that he would go and or Spider-Man would go and investigate. So when Spider-Man went to the Rhino's apartment, he got hit with some odorless gas, which caused him some hallucinations. And we also see that Norman Osborn ain't quite rid of the Green Goblin persona. He's still talking to Norman Osborn. It seems like Norman just got a little control over him, but still, the guy's there. I think that maybe down the line we're going to see a Goblin versus Goblin fight. That's my prediction. Spider Man heads to Ravencroft to do some more research, and just another point about the art, the texturing that they're able to apply is just beautiful. The aura, the angles, I love the art. Interesting. Peter Parker's girlfriend here works at Ravencroft, and she lets Spider Man in, but she can't tell it's Spider Man's voice. What does he have? Some sort of voice modulator in his suit? Anyway, so apparently Spider Man had worked with this gal before, so she trusts him, and they're on the way to see some patient. I wonder who it is. Now, we thought Peter Parker was done having hallucinations, but he's having another flashback where he's getting reprimanded by Uncle Ben, and it looks like could it be his Aunt May? Back in the day, he's like, I'm glad you're not my parents. So he is on the way to go see the Rhino. He's locked up in this little facility. All of a sudden, alarms are going off. It's not a hallucination. This is the real deal. He busts the door down to the Rhino's room and he sees something that terrifies him. He tells Sasha, run. You better run as fast as you get the hell out of here, Sasha. Because it's itsy bitsy, about to kill the Rhino, it looks like. She says, hey, Daddy. Weird. And I did a bit of research. I'm totally not familiar with this character, Itsy Bitsy, but she's a genetic freakazoid creation. She was made with DNA from Deadpool and Spider Man. So on her chest, she wears a symbol that's half Spider Man, half Deadpool. She has 8 total limbs. The 2 legs, looks like she got some claws on them feet, and then obviously 3 arms on each side like Spiral. And she is freaky. Well, I'm in it. I'm hooked. I am enjoying this series so far. The new Amazing Spider-Man. I'm really loving the art. Other than the fact that they make Peter Parker a little effeminate, but I get it. Otherwise, the art has been magnificent. The storyline has got me intrigued. I'm gonna be here for issue number 3. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, so you never miss an episode. Let me know what you think of these first 2 issues down in the comments below. Peace.